presentation is basically how do you move from being a small cap partner to a large cap distribution partner. So that's how what I'm going to focus on. Now, many of you may not be aware this industry is absolutely a fascinating industry. We are in the 60th year of the industry. And I refer to the current time as the industry where geometric progression is happening. The industry took 40 years to reach 1 lakh. But many of you will be surprised that for the last 15 months, the industry has been adding 1 lakh every month, except for March 24. And that's the rate at which it is growing. Even in the last 5 years, you've seen the industry growing at a compounded rate of close to 20-25% every year. And for me, the way I look at the industry is, if you were to put an analogy and say, you take a bottle of water, put it on a ground which is not carpeted, the water flows to the lowest level because of gravity. Similarly, we think a financial product gets sold because it meets safety, return, and liquidity. And I think the mutual fund industry is giving that experience for many clients, and this will continue to grow at a rapid clip. Now, the point I want to lay down is, while the industry is exploding, will this lead to your growth? And what I observe, sadly at occasions, is this segment of distributors, which we call MFDs, there seems to be a little bit of either bandwidth choke or complacency which is coming in, that once you reach a certain level, the growth seems to be stopping. So what do you need to do? So for example, if you have to grow 3 times your business, this is one exercise we do. You could do it by 3 ways. One, you and your clients don't do anything and markets grow up 3 times over the next 5 years, potentially your AUM becomes 3 times. Second, you are so good in what you do with your existing clients that they give you more money, 3 times more money. Or the third is you acquire 3 times more clients. So if you were to look at these 3, the good part is on the first, you and I have no control. You really don't know whether markets are going to go 3 times. There'll be no leakage of assets. On the second, you have some control which is driven by the knowledge and skill you bring to your client and in the discussions. Because do remember, for a long, long time in the mutual fund industry, when I joined UTI, there used to be some guaranteed schemes, but for a majority of you who have started selling funds, we don't guarantee any return. So the only thing we give to the client is the knowledge and the value and the skill. The day the client on the other side sees 0 value from you, trust you me, he will give you a cup of coffee from Madras Coffee House and go and invest in the direct platform. And the third is new clients acquired. Close your eyes for some time, or for 20 seconds, and ask yourself, which of the 3 buckets do you focus more on? And while you may not answer, many often than not, I see a lot of partners trying to focus and outguess the market, as against taking time to focus on the third element, which is getting more clients. So there's a very interesting book written by Marshall Goldsmith, which says what got you here won't get you there. And I think what we are trying to tell you is that if you want to go 3 times, we've put up 5 things you might want to do to grow 3x. So what are the 5 things? First, very, very diplomatically wrong thing to say in a bull market, get comfortable in selling fixed income/fixed income alternatives. Second, constantly update, upskill yourself. Third, do you do enough client acquisition activities? These 3, in a way, we believe you should be demanding and expecting from the manufacturer. The fourth, how many of you have a very rudimentary, crude, basic plan to grow your business 3, 4, 5 times? And lastly, I always believe that beyond a certain stage or beyond a certain number of clients, your ability to grow alone is going to get limited. And many a time when I ask people how many people you have, they'll say, I have 10 people. How many in sales? 0. And trust you me, God has given you 24 hours. And beyond a certain number of clients, there is just no way you're going to be able to deal with them. So what I'm going to try to do is just focus on the first part. Why should you look at even selling fixed income when the whole world is talking 10 trillion and a 20% CAGR and India is the shining star in the world and all of that? And the answer to that is a recent survey and the recent statistics which RBI put out, that despite all the noise on equity, the average Indian still has 30 times more money in fixed income and fixed income products than mutual funds. 30 times. This is on the book. Now people say, no, that is on the book, but the flow is something very different. Last year, no one bought fixed deposits. Trust you me, on the flow, 94% still goes to traditional fixed income. When I look at traditional fixed income, it is FDs, insurance, PF, and all of them. So while we think we are doing a great job in looking at equity assets, trust you me, if you want to scale from 100 crores to 10,000 crores, there is no way in the current context for you to not look at selling fixed income. So if I had to look at how some of your peers are placed, and this is very interesting, if I look at the asset mix of the top 25, 72% of their assets are in equity, 28% in fixed income. But you go to the extreme right, majority of our partners are only in equity, and equity represents 3% of an Indian investor's wallet. So imagine 50,000 partners in the country are looking at 3% of an Indian investor's wallet. Now we can keep complaining that the tax rule has changed, this has changed, but let me show you case that there are still 3-4 opportunities which you can consider. The first, how many of you have ever sold an arbitrage fund? When I look at the hands, it is less than 5%. So that's the big first opportunity. If you look at the sales by MFDs in arbitrage funds, it is just 15%. The second big opportunity is a category called equity savings fund. Clearly, the first step from someone who is going from fixed income into equity should be either arbitrage, then into the equity savings fund. So there also, when we look at the asset mix, the MFD segment is very, very low. While it looks healthy here, trust you me, if I take the number of counts of people selling equity savings, it is less than 500 MFDs across the country. The third, and this is obviously not the right example because people shouldn't confuse a MAF and a BAF to be a substitute for fixed income, but at least there is some progress out from fixed income. And last but not the least, and category which is coming through is an interesting category called income plus arbitrage fund of funds, where 35 to 40% will go into arbitrage, the residual goes into fixed income, and you actually get a tax break or long-term capital gains after 2 years. So that's the other category which the industry is bringing in. So the message I want to leave behind is, if you want to move from a small cap to a large cap distribution partner, you have to open your eyes in your ability to sell fixed income / fixed income alternatives. Now, as you grow, please do keep an eye out on the risks, measures, and sales processes you follow. Now, some of you must be already part of the elite club of people who are into the due diligence done by AMFI and all the mutual funds. If you are going to move your business from 100 crores to 1,000 crores, there is going to be an increasing regulatory oversight on the way you do your business. For example, how many of you do the basic risk profiling of your clients? How many of you ensure that the suitability of the product is in line with the risk profiling? And that is where we believe that many a time, when the due diligence questionnaire goes out to a partner, there is absolute panic which creeps in, saying, oh, what do I do now? Now, again, I come back that if you are aspiring to go from 100x to 10,000 crores, you have to set processes and principles now so that you are able to manage a business at a much higher level. So what is mis-selling? So I'll give you some very interesting scenarios which is coming. So we suddenly got a mail from the regulator saying, these are 3 instances which the regulator believed was a case for mis-selling. Please let us know why this is not mis-selling. Now you can agree, we can disagree on this, but the way the regulator is pushing and looking at transaction is they are able to replicate each transaction on their site and come and ask questions to us. And do remember, the first point of question is the asset manager, who in turn will come and ask you. Now, like I said, this is one instance. There will be thousands such things coming forth. To do that, I think due credit to AMFI for having established the due diligence criteria. I'm sure many of you know that who is applicable to get audited. So if you have AUM over 100 crores, commission received over 1 crore. Why am I talking about this now? Because many of you would say, no, I'm not eligible for this. I think the whole idea is, how do you reach a stage where you get eligible for this? Trust you me, by the time you get eligible and you've not put your processes, you would be very difficult at that time, because don't forever think that regulatory oversight is going to come down. I would say it will go increasing, and it's good, because if you are part of an industry where the client believes that everything is scrutinized and audited and done properly, the ability to draw more assets is clearly much more than the ability to do in an unregulated structure. So what are some of the things the due diligence does? Not only it checks information about distributor, it looks at operation, customer-related services. How do you do compliance risk management? One of the simple things we always come, and I was privileged to be part of the ARN committee, and every time we used to get examples of people not renewing their ARN despite 9-month notice, not being able to get a UIN despite multiple windows of opportunities, and then coming back and saying, oh, please give my brokerage, which is halted and all that. And again, you have to go through the whole process of exception. I think these are simple business practices, sales processes, which you need to do in order to do a scalable business. I think the whole point we want to leave behind, just to summarize, as a distributor, if you want to scale your business 10x, you have to look at where Indians are investing and not go by the current trend. And trust you me, while we are all believing the $10 trillion, the Atmanirbhar and Amritkal, India, and I'm talking only of financial savings, and I'm sure you would have read out the report by SBI, 60% is in physical, 40% is in financial. Within financial, you're talking 4% fixed income, non-fixed income. So if you want to grow your wallet and forget the yield you're getting on your sales, you have to revisit this big asset class called fixed income. We all pride ourselves that we are asset allocators, but debt starts with 60% equity. And many people have started doing STP from MAF and BAF, saying that's my substitute for debt. It is not debt. The second, please be cognizant that over a period of time, regulatory oversight on what you do, how you conduct your business is increasing. And hence, these are the two things I thought I leave behind for this audience in your willingness and urge to grow 10x in your business. Thanks a lot, and hope you have a great evening ahead.